So here we are online with one of the main attractions of our Architecture and Entrepreneurship Week. We are here with Fernando Monastério from VerdeVertical and Via Verde. It's a great honor for us to have you here. Fernando is talking with us since Mexico City, so it's an international attraction, and we are going to talk for a few minutes about all the story of VerdeVertical and how did he came up with the idea and everything. So I think it will be a great talk. So I hope you guys enjoy. Fernando, nice to meet you. And
hello, Andre. Hello, everyone. This is Fernando Ortiz Monasterio from Mexico City, and actually, I am very honored to be invited to this important show. So actually, it's like the greatest honor is that we architects are making things happen in Latin America. So from Mexico to Brazil, and I know that in Brazil, very, very interesting things are happening now. So Latin America is doing great, and I'm very happy to be here with you to talk about VerdeVertical and Via Verde. Yes.
Cool. So can you start explaining a little bit about what is VerdeVertical and what it is Via Verde for our audience?
Excellent. Okay, let's start. Just to give you an idea, well, I studied architecture, and when I was finishing my career at the university, I heard a very, very interesting fact, which is the World Health Organization recommends at least 9 square meters of green area per inhabitant in each city. Okay, so immediately I started wondering how many square meters of green area we have in Mexico City, and sadly we have less than 4. Okay, so we have a very, very big lack of green area in the city, and if we multiply the amount of green area that we were missing per person by the amount of people that we live in Mexico City, we lack around 40 million square meters of green area in Mexico City. So because we don't have 40 million square meters of space to be transformed in green areas, we decided to do it to transform and to create these green areas in a different way. We decided to use the buildings and the gray concrete infrastructure into green areas. So for the last 10 years, VerdeVertical has been transforming the gray into green, the concrete of the city into green spaces. And actually, we're very happy because in the last 10 years we have transformed more than 15,000 square meters of horrible gray concrete into beautiful green spaces for the people. But as I already told you, we need 40 million square meters, and we have done in the last 10 years around 15,000. So we're still missing 39,985,000, something like that. But we're missing a lot. So we decided that we needed to do bigger projects. We needed to go to a bigger scale. So that's why we founded Via Verde. Via Verde is a very specific project developed by VerdeVertical that aims to transform more than 1,000 concrete pillars. Just to let you know, to give you like a very small brief about Mexico City, we have lots of cars, lots of traffic, and so around 7 years ago, they decided to make like an elevated highway in the main street of Mexico City, which is called the Periférico. So there's like an other Periférico on top of Periférico, which is called the Periférico Elevated Highway, which is supported by more than 1,000 concrete columns. And we decided to transform those 1,038 columns into more than 60,000 square meters of green area through vertical gardens. And we have doing that for the last 12 months. And yeah, we're doing great. We have still a long way to go, but we're very happy because we started and the plants are doing great and the people is very happy about the project. So it's working. Yeah, we're doing it.
Cool. I think this is the great stuff about the Via Verde and VerdeVertical, because you had a great idea in your hand, but actually you are doing it. So this is the most important part, doing and having results, real results for people. But let's talk about the beginning. How did you came up with the idea? Okay, you mentioned the lack of green area per inhabitant, but how was the beginning? How did you start to sell this idea, and how did you how did you guys came up with the idea in the first place?
Sure. Well, I must admit that the beginning was very, very, very difficult. So actually, if I knew that being an entrepreneur would be this hard, probably I would have taken another direction. Probably I would be working as an architect, like with AutoCAD, drawing in a big firm or something like that. But we decided to do it, and I think that at the beginning, first of all, we didn't realize, we were sort of naive, which is a very, very important thing about being an entrepreneur. I would say that one of the things that I admire the most about people is those people that don't lose this naiveness. So we were really naive, and we said, yeah, we're going to transform Mexico City. We're going to transform all the concrete. Let's do it. So the first part was, okay, so how? Like, where's the technology? Who's going to develop? And there was not like a company. There was this guy, which is me, okay, doing like all the research. And I have always liked plants a lot, and I have always liked nature and being in contact with plants and nature. So it was sort of a good luck that I was walking around in a trip to Paris, and I saw this huge museum covered with plants, and immediately I said, like, okay, who's doing this? We need this in Latin America. And there's this great botanist called Patrick Blanc. Actually, because I know some of the audience which are watching this, probably they know this building. This building is designed by Jean Nouvel, and it's called the Quai Branly, which is all covered with plants. So immediately I ran to the telephone, and I asked the guys in the museum, like, who did this? We need this in Mexico. And they said, like, Patrick Blanc is very famous. So I called Patrick Blanc and I said, Patrick, you must come to Mexico, to Latin America. We need, like, Paris doesn't need you. We need you. And he said, like, no, I'm an artist and I'm very, very expensive. And so when I came back to Mexico, the first thing we did was to look for the patents that Patrick Blanc had developed to do that. And there was a very bad news from the lawyers and some good news. The bad news was that they said, like, Patrick Blanc has patented everything, and the French guys are really good lawyers, so you're not going to be able to do it anyway because you're going to violate the international rah, 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 rah. And the second part of that news was the good one, which was that all the patents in the world have like a starting time and a finishing time, like a period. And the period of the Patrick Blanc patent ended like one day after the day I received that news. After 25 years, the day after, they told me that the patent was over. So everyone in the world could do vertical gardens with that technology. So I took that sort of like a mystical sign, and I said, like, this is for me. And so we founded VerdeVertical. And when I said we, like, I founded VerdeVertical, and I started playing with plants. And the general idea of Patrick Blanc patent is that he doesn't grow plants on soil, but in a special felt. Just like my sweater is like a very specific felt which has no organic components. But the idea is called hydroponics. The word hydroponics comes from the Latin word hydro, water, ponos, work, that we have to work with water instead of working with soil. So we started making sort of experiments. Everything, all the history was very empirical. But that's the way, like, I didn't study science. I was an architect, but I have I wanted to do it. So probably it would be a bad idea to tell this, but I must admit that probably I am the person that has killed more plants in all the world. Like, I'm very sorry, plants, you died in a very positive things for the world, because we have gained lots of knowledge, but we killed lots of plants. And so we started controlling the irrigation systems and the nutrition of the plants, and we started gaining knowledge about nitrógeno, fósforo, potassium, micronutrients, and we started to develop our own patents about connecting the projects to the internet. So we have like a data room with all our babies, with all the living plants. We know exactly the temperature, water, amount of light. So we have developed a lot since that time. But the beginning was one guy wanting to change the city, and I think that's the most important thing, that you have to never lose that, because when you lose that, if you lose the original purpose of the project, you can do that project or other things. But no, we haven't lost that. We want to change the city. We have a long way to go, and right now in VerdeVertical we're about 60 people, like architects, designers, urbanists, engineers, electronic engineers, and gardeners, and designers, and also we architects are very good with creation, with ideas, with plans, with we become artists, and we like that part of being architect, but we're very bad at the financial stuff. We're very bad at numbers and at dollars and pays and at Excel. Like, we think like, oh, we architects, like, that's too low for us. We're too high. We're like very like anyone can do Excel. So what happens in architecture is that most of the projects stay, like the word say, as a project. They don't become reality. So since the beginning, I was very interested on not only developing the technology that could make this happen, but also developing the business plans that could make this happen. So I studied an MBA, a Master in Business and Administration, and at the beginning, everyone was telling me like why you want to do that? And I was telling because we need that knowledge to make things real. So I would say that I'm not an architect anymore. I rather saying that I'm a gardener with some knowledge about financial stuff. So that was the beginning. 10 years ago, we have done lots of stuff. We have made lots of mistakes, which I'm very grateful about that. I think mistakes have become like the most important part of the. If I have to find I don't know, a consistent thing about the last 10 years, I would say that those are the mistakes. And mistakes are a very important part of VerdeVertical culture. We're not afraid of making mistakes. Actually, we promote making mistakes because we think it's the only way to really learn things. And we have made some small mistakes, but we have made really, really big mistakes. And I like the big one better than the small ones. So I'm a little bit, people say I'm a little bit, I don't know, crazy, because if you have to choose between not making a mistake and making a mistake, most of the people would take the first direction. And obviously I would take the second, because mistakes are very important for growth, for personal growth, for company growth. So that's a little bit about the philosophy and the culture we live here in VerdeVertical. And as you can see, I get really excited and I can talk for hours. So whenever you want, Andre, please say, okay, Fernando, come down. Let's talk about this or that. And I'm very pleased to answer.
Okay, no problem. The history is so interesting that we can talk for hours. So yeah, be cool. You talk about the business. Since the beginning, you have the idea to have a business in your hand. But when did you realize that, yes, I have a business, not only an idea, but something that I can sell? Because the idea is very good, it's full of purpose, and we're going to talk about purpose later. But how did you get the real idea that, yes, I have a business? When was that moment?
I remember the exact second, minute, an hour, an year when that happened, that I had this girlfriend, which is not my girlfriend anymore. Right now I'm married with two beautiful kids, and my wife is pregnant. But so
congratulations.
There was this girlfriend. Okay, there was this girlfriend, and I was very excited about the idea, and I told her, like, we're gonna make this happen because I believe in my project, and actually I was so happy that her mother told me, like, hey, Fernando, you have been researching for the last 6 months. Why don't you try a little experiment here in the upper part of the house? And I said, like, yeah, it's a sunny place. We can try it. And so we did. I remember exactly, like, one experiment of 1 meter by 1 meter. Okay, 1 square meter, and it was really, like, yeah, very scientific. Like, it was not beautiful, but it was working. And suddenly, the mother of my ex-girlfriend invited some guys for a dinner, and I was there. And she said like, hey, take them to the rooftop and show them what you're doing. And I said like, no, don't worry. Right now, probably have a drink. It's a small experiment. I'm not ready. And she said like, come on, show them. So we went up, and I saw the face of the people looking at this and said like, Fernando, that's beautiful. Like, can I have one of those in my house? And I immediately say like, no, obviously not. We do not sell this. Like, we're just experimenting. And immediately I stopped and I said like, obviously, yeah. We have this company. It's called. We didn't have a name, so I said like, verde. Green and vertical, VerdeVertical, VerdeVertical. And tomorrow we go to your house with like the sale people, and there was no sale people, and there was nothing but me. But I noticed in the face of the people that there was an opportunity, because they liked it, and there's this thing that they had never seen before, because we have seen lots of like horizontal gardens and beautiful flowers and plants, but those people never seen before the same in a vertical plane. And when they saw it, I saw their face changing and say like, wow, we can do that. And we started selling. The first project was like 1 by 2. And obviously we lost money, we did it badly, and etc. And we started learning, we started doing, and we were never afraid of making mistakes. And we always, with every mistake we made, we always were very clear with our clients. And we said, this happened, it's our fault, we're gonna change it, don't worry. So we developed like, we don't have in the office like an research and development department, because the R&D department in this company is called clients. Like, we just experiment with clients, and we have gained lots of knowledge, but that was the beginning of the business. As you can imagine, we didn't know how to price the thing. We didn't know how to make an invoice. We didn't know how to charge. We didn't know anything about businesses. It was a very, very interesting and excited moment when someone wanted what we have to offer. Yeah, when the offer and the people wanting the offer matches, that's where business happened. Yeah.
Cool. So that was the magic moment in your career. You talk about the purpose. You have to have being a professional full of purpose and never lose the naiveness, like we said before. It helps to have a bigger purpose for you, of course, but for the market, do you think people buy your purpose, or they buy like a beautiful 1 square meter of garden in a different axis, because it's horizontal, now it's vertical? Do you think your purpose sells?
To be very, very, very honest, no. But the purpose of the project is not what you sell to the people. And actually, that was our first mistake, which was to try to sell my purpose to the people. And I all the time I was telling people, like, in Mexico City we have only 3.7 square meters of green area, and the minimum recommended by the World Health Organization is 9. So we need around 5 more square meters per person. So why don't you buy 5 square meters so you can just check your amount of green area, because if you don't do it, you're gonna get respiratory illness, and all the people was like no, I don't buy that. Okay, that's your purpose, which is really nice, and I realized that we have to change, at least in Latin America, because we have done projects in the United States, which is different. Because we're going to talk a little bit about that, but in Latin America, the thing about being self-conscious about the environmental things and to save the planet and to save water and stuff is not happening as it should happen by now. So we have this possibility of a very novel product, because we can sell it from the environmental point of view, but also from the architectural point of view. So we started changing our speech and saying like, look what a beautiful wall you'll have, and it's the most innovative material, and you're always it's going to be connected to the internet. And the architects were like, oh, beautiful, yeah, very interesting. So I think that architects and probably clients in general in Latin America look more for the beautiful things, for the beautiful spaces, more than the environmentally positive materials. So the very good news about the project, about VerdeVertical, about the things we do, is that we sell beautiful things, but we make great impact in the environment. And actually, we have been working with the most important university in Mexico, which is the Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México, to really measure the amount of environmental benefits that we are producing, such as better quality climate regulation, acoustic insulation, and actually the product we sell is very good at those three things: better quality, climate regulation, and acoustic insulation. So we're doing both things, but just like you ask, like, is the people buying the purpose? The answer is no. Sadly, but no. In the US, it's different. We have done projects in the US and Europe, and they have developed like a general consciousness about climate change, about environmental things, and actually I would say it like some of this consciousness is because of they look for it, but also because the city managers have imposed some regulations, and it is not about if you want to have some green area, you have to build green area, and otherwise you have to pay more taxes. So I think that the public policies in Latin America have to be harder in that way. So it's not about buying beautiful things. So really adding green areas for a healthy city for everyone. So we have a long way to go in that way.
Oh, very cool. I was a little bit surprised when you thought no. I was like, whoa. Yeah, because it's very hard to sell. I know here in Brazil, lots of architects came to talk to us and say, I want to develop like a project with focus in sustainability. And I'm always say, it's a good thing to hear, but I don't know if people will buy it, will pay for it. Yeah. Because you have to, it's great, but like you said, it's great for, it's your purpose, not mine. So it's very hard to sell this whole idea, but I think you got in a very important mix the purpose, but also a business with other. You can sell lots of things, like a beautiful wall, but also a great impact in the environment. So it's a great.
In that sense, it is interesting, for example, that at the beginning we started doing vertical gardens, but also green roofs at the top of the buildings. And we decided to stop selling green roofs because most of our clients here in Mexico said like who's gonna see that? Like only the airplanes and the helicopters. But we also have vertical gardens. Oh yeah, that I can see it every day, and I can tell the people that I'm very eco-friendly and stuff. So we decided to close like the green roof area, and there's lots of companies doing it here in Mexico, which is very nice because it's about the purpose. But you have to find the right clients, not only the beautiful, the ones that look for beautiful things, but also the ones that have the consciousness.
Cool. And
sorry.
No problem. We can cut that part so you can cough freely.
Thank you.
Okay. So you guys in VerdeVertical, you work with several kinds of audiences. You have like the residential client customer. You have companies that buy for a large scale project. You also have university. You also have government. How do you work together with all those guys, because they are very different, and how do you make that happen?
I would divide the clients in two very different groups. Okay, one group is the one that is willing to pay you to do a vertical garden, okay, which is the most like residences, restaurants, shopping centers, universities. Like, I have money, you have a product, I hire you, and you build and you maintain the garden. Cool. We have in this part those kind of clients, and we wanted to make bigger projects. We wanted to go to the streets, and we wanted to go like to public space, and we started dealing with government, which is very, very, very difficult for two reasons. The first one is that they don't have much money. So if they had to prioritize the problems in the city, there's lack of water, there's education, there's security, there's pollution, there's blah, 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 blah. And then there's vertical gardens. So we are not like a very important project for a major in the city. So the amount of money that could be invested in this kind of project is very limited. And the second problem about working with government is that they are very, very bad at maintaining things. And as you probably know, vertical gardens are high maintenance everywhere. Like, they need the irrigation system, and they need nutrients, and they need like to cut the plants, and like as much as any other garden. But the difference is that because you see it right in front of you, if the garden horizontally is very poorly maintained, people is sort of used to it. But if you see a vertical garden dying, it looks terrible, really terrible. And there's lots of terribly maintained vertical gardens. And so they don't have the money, and it's complicated, like the maintenance of this technology. So we start thinking about how could we go to public space, and we can build very large projects solving these two things. And we came, we did a poll in the city. We asked around 2,500 people in Mexico City, and we said, like, we want to do this in public spaces. We want the city to be greener, and we want the air to be better, and we want lots of things. But we have this problem, like, who's gonna pay it and who's gonna maintain it? And so we asked the people, and 60% of the people came up with the same solution, which is very interesting, which is the government doesn't have to pay it, because our taxes are gonna be better invested in other things. So we don't want our taxes to be transformed into vertical gardens in public spaces. So the government doesn't have to pay it. The people in the city, we don't want to pay it because we already pay taxes for the public space. So why don't you invite the companies, the private companies, to support this project? And we said, like, good, but how can we invite a company? And we came up with a solution for the public space, which was very creative, and with the help of lots of people, thousands of people, that said, what would happen if we make 90% of green area, of green spaces, and that 10% we give it to the company, so they can say, like, Coca-Cola, thank you very much for making this city better and stuff. So the business model, talking about businesses, okay, there's one business model that actually gets paid for making these vertical gardens. Like, if you want a vertical garden, I can sell you one, Andre, okay? And that's one business model. And the other, which is very different business model, is that we give for free vertical gardens to the cities. In exchange, we expect 10% of the area for the brands to support that. So Via Verde, that we already talked a little bit about that, it's in the most important street in Mexico City, the Periférico, and we have 9 green columns, and the 10th column, the 10 concrete pillar, goes to Coca-Cola and to Nestle and to famous brands that really want to be part of the project, because they get, like, this positive attention of the people, but also they would otherwise they would invest that money in billboards and horrible things like advertising in the cities. So it's like a win for the brand, a win for the people because they don't pay it and the government don't pay it, and a win for the government because they gain a lot of positive comments from the people of the city. So it's a win-win-win, which makes it possible. And yeah, so in the last, I studied architecture, I became a gardener, and for the last 12 months, I have become sort of an advertiser guy, which is, I don't like that part of my job. So we're making like an alliance with some commercial companies. So I tell them, like, you have the 10%, you do whatever you want, you pay us, so we can keep on doing the green areas and maintaining beautifully the green areas, because I don't like that part. I feel better being a gardener. Yeah, but it is interesting because if the business model doesn't work, the project won't work, or probably it will work for a very short term, and in a couple of months or years, everything's gonna be dead, and there's not gonna be money for the maintenance. So we solved it in a very creative way. And just to give you like a general perception of the city, every 3 months we ask the people like, how are we doing? How do you like the Via Verde project? And in the last poll, which was like in November, we asked around 6,000 people, and 93% of the asked people said like, I really like the project, even though it's got Coca-Cola advertising and stuff. 93% of the people, like, there's very few public programs that have more than, I don't know, 50% of acceptance. So 93, I'm sorry, is a very high level of acceptance. So the government is very happy with the project because they don't pay it, but they are happy, and the people's happy, and Coca-Cola's happy, and I'm happy, and you're happy, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, I can see that, because I think that the great idea, the general idea, is that you have to please everybody in the process, right? You have to please the government, offering a good thing for free. You have to please the society as well. So yeah, pretty cool. All the way that you guys created a business that it's a win-win-win situation. So everybody's happy at the end. But you told me like 15 minutes ago about the right client. And I want to know if you guys have a priority target audience for your projects, and how did you how did you draw this ideal client to sell Via Verde and VerdeVertical?
I wouldn't say that we have like the right client, because I would say that at the beginning we had that in mind, but that was one of our mistakes. There's no right client, or there's no one right product, but there's one right client product match. Okay, so for these kind of people, you have to sell this kind of product to make a match. For these kind of people, if they look for organic, non-GMO things, offer them this. If they're very fancy shopping center, don't go for the non-GMO thing, but for the ultra fancy orchid, beautiful, we're gonna make the world record of the biggest vertical garden. The developers love a lot the word record. If you want to sell to a big developer, tell them that they're gonna have like whatever, like anyone in the world has as many yellow flowers as you're gonna have. So we have learned that we can make a match. But another interesting thing that we have learned is you cannot do too many things right. You have to specialize in what you do best. And in that thing, we decided to specialize in very big projects. So we decided that the minimum scale of our project would be 1,000 meters. So that's a very big project. So we have concentrated on that. So that have gave us the possibility of working in large projects, not only in Mexico City, but in other cities in the country and other cities in the world. And so in that sense, we have specialized on that. But we realized that probably 9 out of every 10 clients want a very small project. So we were leaving 9 out of 10 potential clients behind. So we started thinking, what can we offer them? So we developed a product that we're about to release. We're still working on it, which is called the plug and plant. The plug and plant is not a service that you ask and you call VerdeVertical, I want a vertical garden. So we go to your house, we measure, and then we make a design, and then we build it, and then we maintain it and stuff. That's a service. In the plug and plant model business, there's no services, but there's products. So you go to the Home Depot and you have panels that you assemble together, and you put some capsules on the, and what we have learned in the plug and plant that people have no idea how to take care of plants. They don't know how much water they need and how much nutrients they need and what kind of nutrients and how the amount of sunlight and stuff. So that was like the most important part of not offering a service was who's going to take care of the plants. So the plug and plant has developed a very technological branch which allows the product to have sensors, light sensors, water sensors, nutrient sensors that connect to the internet and send all the information to a database that through algorithms we know exactly what the plants need. So it's very it's like it's a smart vertical garden that it tells you in the smartphone what the plants need to be happy, because we know that most of the people don't know what they need. So that's an interesting project also, the plug and plant, that you can look for it. And so as you can see, we have Via Verde, which is VerdeVertical, which is like the platform of the company. And then we have very big projects such as the Via Verde. And then we have like the R&D developing the plug and plant. And yeah, that's what makes us keep on moving. Like, yeah, every step we make, we realize that things can be done in a better way, or probably we decided to do big projects, but we're leaving behind 9 out of 10 clients. So we have to fix that, and that's I don't know the word, the exciting part of being an entrepreneur, that you have to solve all the things all the time with passion and with ideas and creativity. And that, I think that's the most important thing. That, the passion and the mistakes, the two most important things in VerdeVertical.
Yeah, you told us about two things that I think are very important. The part that the perfect match between the client and the company and the product. And I think here in Brazil, sometimes the architects, they think that the work will sell them by themselves. You don't need to create like a value proposition for each kind of client. I only will draw here a project and boom, I will sell this anyway. So I think you show us how can you have lots of kinds of clients and create solutions that you can sell for each one of them in different value propositions. Like for one, I will sell the non-GMO thing. The other ones, I will sell a bigger project. For the 9 of 10 that want something smaller and I cannot do that now, I will create a product. So this is the fun part, like you said, because I think that here in Brazil we lack as well the ability of pivoting, like changing or reacting the news. Like, oh, okay, I cannot do a service anymore, so I will create a product. This this kind of thing is not very common here. Normally people think, no, this is my product here, and people have to want it. I don't have to sell it. So it's not true. I have to sell it, and I have to solve new problems, like, but I don't like the color, so I can create more colors. I don't like the size, I can create more sizes. So this is, I think, one of the most important things that you told us until now.
In that sense, Andre, you're talking about two very, very interesting things. One is not about Brazilian or Mexican or Latin American people. It's about our profession, about architects. That's a globalized problem, which I would say that most of architects think they are artists. And when I say the word artist, is that the artist, an artist is like probably one of the few professions that you do whatever you want. Like, I want to throw a bucket of paint in that wall. Do it, because you're an artist. Like, the artist can do anything, and then the market goes to the art piece and decides whether they like it or not, and that's how art works. In that sense, I would say that architects are not artists, because we work for clients, and clients have specific needs and specific every client needs a specific solution, and sometimes we forget we are offering like our service to help a person's need. And if I had to change one thing about architects, the most important one would be that: forget about the ego and concentrate on what people need. We talk about if we like a long window for the light and the shade and the sensation, and the client is like, no, I just want like a bathroom for my kids or something like that. Like, so that's a problem with architects in the world. And the other part of your comment, which is also very true, is, I would say, that happens a lot, not only in Brazil, but also in Mexico, and I would say that in Latin America in general, which is, we are very afraid of change. If we have something, we cannot change it. Why? I'm sorry. Why cannot we change it? Because it has been doing it. We have been doing the same thing for the last 200 years. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that we cannot change it. We can make it better. No, because we have done it like that. Yeah, I know that we have done it like that, but we can do it different. And we don't like changes. We don't like it. Like, at the beginning, I would say that the most difficult part of VerdeVertical was the Mexican people trying to comprehend how the heck the plants could grow in a different place that they have never seen it before. And they always told me, like, no, that's not going to work, because plants only grow horizontally and in soil. And I told them, no, don't worry, come to see. I'm going to take you to 10 different projects that we have made, so you can touch it, you can see it. And even though they were in front of a vertical garden, they started saying that that's not possible. No, that's not true. Like, that's real. You have it in front. So the idea of doing things different is a very, very huge challenge for our cultures. And in that sense, like, I don't want to talk too much about that, because I really get passionate about this topic, which is the Latin American reality from an economical perspective, is exactly that. We do really good the thing we have done for the last 500 years. Agriculture, our crafts. Why don't we have like the most amazing programmers and coding people in Mexico? Because we are good at planting agriculture in the, and changing patterns is very, very difficult, but it's our duty to do it, our duty to communicate and to motivate the new generations. And I think in that way, Via Verde, VerdeVertical and Via Verde is not only a very cool project because it has become a reality, but because it has given me the possibility of going to conferences to motivate people and say, like, this specific project is not gonna solve the climate change in the world or in Mexico City or the air quality, but it gives us hope. It gives us hope that things can be done different, and it gives you everyone, like I would say that 99.9999999% of the people, when I told them about the project, they said, like, that's impossible, they're gonna die, don't worry, get a job, rah, 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 rah. And then the plants are growing, the project is beautiful, people's really happy. So I would love to go back to those guys and say, like, in your face, but no, it's not about that. It's about inspiring more people to do things not only in recovering green areas, but in mobility, in security, in education. There's too many things that have to be done, not only in Mexico City and in Brazil, but in the world. And we have to be creative, and we cannot let the government to solve everything. They don't have the capacity. They need the people. So we have to take power, take control of things, experiment. We're gonna fail. We have to do it again. We're gonna fail again. We have to do it again. And that's the culture of the company. And I think in that specific sense, we have. I would say that we have done a great job.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you, and it's a fun thing that you said. I think people normally don't like the change. Not only architects, people in general don't like the change at all. And when you see here in Brazil, you look to the architectural firms or architectural bureaus, and they are doing the same business model since the 40s. So nothing's changed the way they sell or the way they create things. It's 100% the same thing 60, 70 years ago. So I think the way that you talk in the middle of your response, like, we have to inspire the new generations to change as well, not only different projects, but also different business models and different products and lots of things that we have to change. And talking about that, I'm going to ask you only 2 more questions. What's your biggest advice for a young architect that want to endeavor in a new business or in a more traditional business? What is your main advice?
I have it very clear, and if someone listens to this talk, which has been very nice, thank you, Andre, for the invitation. Please follow the advice word by word, okay? Because I know if you're listening and if you listen to my advice, you're gonna be like, no. But trust me and follow this advice, okay? The advice is make as many mistakes as you can and as fast as you can. So we have to make more mistakes. We have to make evolution happens. And the only possibility for evolution is committing mistakes. And if we're afraid of failing, evolution is not gonna happen, and we're gonna be stuck on that. So we're all afraid. I'm afraid. but do it. Do things. Try things. Go for it. Don't talk about it. Do it. Doing is the new saying. Like we're so tired of saying. Architects love to say. We write books and we go to conferences and we give lessons and we give lectures, and it's about ideas. Okay, great. Now do things. Do the ideas. Put them in practice and fail. I hope you don't fail. If you don't fail, you're too smart. But I'm not smart, so the only possibility I have to grow and to evolve is failing, and the only possibility to fail is to try things. So I would say that to all the people who's listening, do things, try things. Don't be afraid of failing, because the most probable thing to happen is that you're going to fail, and then you're going to try again, and you're going to fail again, and you're going to try again. And it is interesting that the most successful people in any discipline is not the smarter, but those who never gave up of trying and trying and trying and trying. So let's fail. Let's make mistakes.
Bueno, yo voy a preguntarte una última cuestión y ahora en español para cambiarnos un poco. Y usted puede hablar en español, por favor. ¿Conoces Brasil? ¿Ya estuviste acá? ¿Y qué piensas usted de nuestra arquitectura?
Bueno, primero, André, me siento medio un idiota porque tu español es perfecto, mi inglés es muy malo y entonces he intentado comunicar mis ideas, pero esto lo pudimos haber hecho en español porque tu español es perfecto. Felicidades, hablas muy bien.
Gracias.
A la pregunta concreta, tengo la suerte de haber estado en Brasil. Conozco Sao Paulo y conozco Río, dos ciudades diametralmente diferentes. Me encanta y sin duda creo que la arquitectura brasileña históricamente ha tenido un camino parecido a México, en donde nosotros teníamos a los españoles, ustedes tenían a los portugueses, hay arquitectura colonial, hay una independencia y empieza la arquitectura moderna, y en el Brasil independiente o en el México independiente, principalmente a mediados del siglo XX, hay una migración muy importante de ideas europeas. Y entonces, en su caso, tienen a Le Corbusier y toda la arquitectura moderna brasileña. En nuestro caso, tenemos a Mies van der Rohe y la arquitectura moderna mexicana. Y yo diría que ese gran momento de la arquitectura brasileña y ese gran momento de la arquitectura mexicana, con mucha influencia europea, era una plataforma ideal para una generación que es la nuestra, de arquitectura contemporánea, que no supimos aprovechar. Y ahora la arquitectura contemporánea me parece que perdió identidad. Podría ser en Rotterdam, o podría ser en Nueva York, o podría ser en Sao Paulo. Y entonces ahora valoro mucho, que estuve en algunos lugares muy interesantes en Brasil, la arquitectura contemporánea que retoma la historia, que retoma la tradición, que retoma los materiales, y que no es esta arquitectura contemporánea atemporal, ageográfica. Y entonces, en términos generales, me gusta mucho y creo que ambos, tanto México como Brasil, tienen este enorme compromiso de detonar el talento, de detonar las economías. Yo diría, Brasil y México, en un momento Brasil fue mucho mejor que México, ahora ha caído un poco y México está, pero somos de las economías más fuertes de América Latina. Y el crecimiento económico conlleva una derrama cultural y museos y galerías y bienales y ferias. Y tenemos que, es nuestro compromiso enaltecer la cultura, enaltecer la arquitectura. Y a veces siento que los arquitectos contemporáneos estamos un poco en deuda, un poco, tenemos que trabajar más duro para realmente potenciar esta enorme capacidad que tenemos, esta enorme cultura histórica que tenemos. Y lo cual, más que no lo veo desde el punto de vista negativo, sino desde el punto de vista que hay mucho por hacer, y lo cual nos da una oportunidad enorme. Son países donde hay tanto por hacer que una vez más regreso al punto del advice anterior, que es hagamos, cometamos errores. Y en términos generales, la comida de Brasil me pareció espectacular. Fui a un recorrido por el Amazonas a buscar plantas. Cada vez que puedo, voy a buscar plantas nuevas. Entonces me fui a unos lugares increíbles en el Amazonas, encontré unas cosas fascinantes. Y entonces coincide también con México, que tenemos una riqueza natural espectacular. Y somos grandes países que no podemos dejar en deuda. Tenemos que hacer todo por mejorar, por desarrollar, por explotar, por detonar este enorme potencial.
Bueno, Fernando, muchas gracias. Fue un honor para nosotros. Me gustó mucho nuestra conversación. Y I hope that you like it as well. If you need anything here in Brazil, please feel free to ask us, to send us an email. It was great. And all I have to do is thank you again. And if you want to say anything at the end, please feel free to do that.
No, thank you very, very, very much. Muchas gracias por la invitación. I really get excited talking about the things I love, and the cities and urbanism and nature and the future and technology. And this was a very nice chat. So thank you. I hope it's not the last time we can talk to each other. And thank you for all the audience. And whenever you want to come to Mexico, we're going to be welcoming you. Thank you, Andre.
So thank you, guys. I hope you enjoy all the content, and I see you next day with more and more content and more videos and more interviews in our Architecture and Entrepreneurship Week. Bye-bye, guys.